Hi vinyl community, it's Mike, Vinyl Spiral here, and I'm going to tell you about something really special that I received in the post today. So here goes. My good friend right up in the northernmost part of England, Berwickshire Mike, sent me a package, and it contains some absolutely wonderful stuff. So here goes. First off, is this album by July, and it's called Resurrection, and it's a full-on psychedelic album. I think it's from 2013. I had a look on Discogs, and I think that's when it's from. But there's no date at all on the actual sleeve here or on the record label. But this album is from a 1960s pop psych band called July, who I really love. Now, July only ever had one album, and it was self-titled album in 1968 called July, and I don't have it on vinyl, but I do have it on CD, and here it is. So it's this is a double CD. It's got the album July and also July the 2nd. Now July the 2nd I think was released in about mid-90s, and it was really singles and B-sides and various other sort of offcuts and demos that July had not released. So by 68, 69, July had come and gone. They're one of my favourite English pop psych bands. They're a little bit heavier than a lot of the bands at the time, which is probably why I quite like them. And there's still the kind of whimsy that you get in psychedelia at those times, particularly over here in the UK. So this album, as I say, I think it was released in 2013, and it features Peter Cook and Tom Newman, who are two of the original members of July, and apparently they just fancied having another go. Thought, why not? Let's recapture our past glories, and it's a really lovely album. This I've not heard it before, and I'm not even sure if I knew that it existed. But listening to it, you can tell it's very much rooted in the late 60s. It's got that feel to it. It's a little bit whimsical. But it's pop psych with a sort of a rock psych tinge to it. So tracks on here include the opening track called Dreams, which I think is really good. I've listened to this about 3 times already, and only received it first thing this morning. Next track is I Like It. Can I Go Back Again? A Day to Remember. And then on side 2 there's King Bee, track called I'm Talking to You, which I think is the most sort of 60s of the tracks on here. Well, maybe it's either that one or the final track. So the next track is called Heaven or Hell, and then Magical Days, which is the final track on the album. And as I say, I didn't even know this existed. It's called Resurrection. It's Peter Cook and Tom Newman recapturing their past glories and having a bit of fun. And I'm glad they did, because it's a great album. So that was a fantastic gift. Thank you very much, Mike. So if that was that, I would have been over the moon. But no, there's a second album here. And this is by somebody that I've never heard of. And I don't know why. I don't know why I've never heard of her, because she is absolutely brilliant. Uh, there you are. She's called Siobhan Wilson, and she's from Scotland. And you see, the album's been signed by her. And in his little note to me, Mike says, "I know you have a love for female singer-songwriters, which I absolutely do." He says, "Well, I hope Siobhan fits the bill." He said, "She lives quite near me, so I got her to sign the album when it arrived. How about that?" So I think Mike's literally gone the extra mile, to get the signature, or however far it is between his house and Siobhan's house. As you can see, it's called There Are No Saints. I think it's her second album. It's from 2017, and it's right up my street, Mike. This is a lovely album. And as I say, I don't know why. I've not heard of her before. I'll show you the album itself. There's a label there, and she's playing the guitar. On the other side, it's just a white label. But the tracks on here, again, I've listened to this 3 times, probably 3.5 times already, and I'll be listening to it some more in the next few days. It's an absolute lovely album. So the first track on here is called There Are No Saints, which is the title track, and it has a very religious sort of feel to it. I mean, and she's got that sort of voice for it. It's she can really hit the high notes. It's absolutely brilliant. It's got a very sort of ethereal, very sort of calming sort of hue to it. It's really nice. So it then goes on. Next track is called Whatever Helps. Then there's Dear God. And then 2 of the last 3 tracks. Now, not only do I love female singer-songwriters, I also love female French singers. And she sings a couple of tracks on this in French. So, what a bonus that is for me, I thought. Anyway, the first one is called Prier Blanche, Paris is White, which is, again, it's a lovely track. I'm going to say this about every track on this album, because every track is absolutely lovely. The next track is called Disaster and Grace. And then the final track on side 1 is called J'attendrai, which means I will wait. And looking at the sleeve notes, it says it was written in 1936. And I looked it up, because I'm really interested to know the sort of provenance of some of these songs. And apparently, it became a real sort of wartime favourite of the French. As I say, it's called J'attendrai, I Will Wait. And it was like their equivalent to Vera Lynn's We'll Meet Again. So basically, the men are off at the front, and the women are promising to wait, and it's a lovely track, and it was a real surprise. It's great. So we go into side 2, and Incarnation is the first track. That's great. Make You Mine, Dark Matter, Dystopian Bark, which is quite an odd track. It's quite different from the other stuff on this album, and it's great. It kind of breaks things up a little bit, and it's really interesting. And then the final track, which I think is it's brilliant. It's a bit of a standout to me. It's called It Must Have Been the Moon. So there you go, a signed copy of an album from somebody who had just passed me by, and I don't know how it happened because she is absolutely brilliant. The really strange thing I think about Mike and myself, I think we have musical tastes that are quite similar, but I think our record collections are completely different. And it just goes to show, the vast wealth of music there is out there. That you tend to go in one direction, and there's 20 or 30 other directions that you could have gone. So, I'd really recommend anybody to sort of, maybe have a little bit of a look at the new music that's around here. But you don't have to continually buy superior pressings of albums you already have. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but there's some really lovely modern stuff out there, and this is an example. So, Mike, just thank you very much. It was absolutely wonderful gift. I wasn't expecting it, and well, you made my day, mate. So I'll see you all soon then. Bye bye.